So good afternoon everyone, I'm coming to you now. It is Tuesday afternoon, about coming at 4 o'clock. I was meant to do a video yesterday morning, but I've been very busy since I got back to Cornwall and just couldn't happen. I did have the sort of kitchen set up ready to go after learning a few sort of photography tips from a guy I met a few weeks ago about setting up with light and blah blah blah, and the line of vision and all this. So I did have that all set up, but house is a bit mental. So coming to you from the car this afternoon, I have got some stats written down which I'll get into in a minute. This video is just a bit of a, originally it was meant to be just a moan, because I like a lot of fans have been disillusioned for a while with what the team are doing, what the club is doing. Obviously been disillusioned with what the club's been doing for years, but what the team's doing right now, what the management are, what the manager is trying to achieve. You know, if the manager was setting out a clear plan and we just got overturned by better teams, or, you know, bad luck, sometimes it's not your day, we can live with that, because although we're still seen as a big club, we're not really, are we? It's a club with a really nice stadium and a big fan base. But, you know, if we were getting beat by the likes of Tottenham and Man U and City and Arsenal and Liverpool and Everton to an extent, you know, but trying to beat them, trying to take them on, but getting beat by the upper echelon of quality in the Premier League, you know, I can accept that, I can swallow that with the team we are now, but it's not the case. So anyway, this video was meant to be I'm going to address all of that, go balls out a little bit. I'm also just going to quickly, while I'm driving before I pick the park up, just say my last video, usually I spend about sort of 10 to 15 minutes going over a review, but there was so little positives, and I am quite a positive person, quite a positive fan, which I would think it's fair to say for a Newcastle supporter is quite a rare thing at the moment. But I try not to dwell on negatives. I try and search for the positives, try and pull the diamonds out of the piles of shit that have been our performances this season. But there was so little I could say positive about that performance, so I just knocked it on the head. I was fed up of talking about it, fed up of thinking about it. So I thought, instead of just repeating myself and moaning and swearing, I was just thought, let's chop suey here, I've got other things to do. But so that's what this video is for. But I thought, instead of just singling out one performance to moan, when there's been so many to moan about, I thought, you know, we're what, 9 games in? I thought, right, this would be a good time to sort of reflect, especially as, you know, I didn't do a video on the Wolves game, I didn't do a video on the Everton match or the Southampton game because I was away working. So I thought, you know, this is a good time to sort of take stock of everything that I missed, commenting on, and sort of go from there. However, you know, as I said, I am a positive person in the main, and particularly when it comes to Newcastle United, because despite the crap we have to watch, I love this team. I love this club, as we all do, but I'm not deluded. This is going to be mainly a moan. So the performance against Chelsea, I think in some respects summed up everything that is wrong with the team at the minute. We are unambitious, we seem terrified of taking any sort of risk. Now, when I say take risk, I'm not saying let's put every fucker forward at a corner, let's bring the goalkeeper up, let's leave ourselves disastrously exposed. When I say take a bit of risk, I mean attacking intent. I mean, when we have the ball and we have possession in good areas, let's commit players forward. But no, so before, I'm still driving, I can't find anywhere to park. Before I go on to the points I've prepared, I'm just going to address, there are a lot of Steve Bruce is obviously a popular bloke, and and I don't dislike him as a person. I've never met the guy, but from what we see of him in the media, on the telly, from what I've read about him, from what other pros have said about him as a player and as a manager, he seems like a really good guy. He's probably a top bloke. You know, he's got a lot of friends in the media, which right now is frustrating, because your average Newcastle fan, by his friends in the media, is being portrayed as a bit of a mongoloid, as being a brat who's not happy with any, you know, wants everything her own way. We would expect so much, but it's not the case, but I'll get into that in a minute. But Steve Bruce has obviously got a lot of friends in the media from his, you know, his connections. He's managed a lot of clubs. I mean, just off the top of my head, about to say Arsenal then, Hull, you know, Hull City, Birmingham, Villa, Sunderland, God, I'm probably missing loads, but that's just off the top of my head, you know, so that's all sorts of teams. And the fact that he's not hated, the fact that he's still portrayed as a good guy in the media after managing both Birmingham, Villa, and then Sunderland and now Newcastle, shows that he must be a good bloke. He must be a decent guy. You know, obviously he's got a lot of friends, because he's tremendously successful as a player at Manchester United. Obviously got the Norwich connections as well. But, and I can understand to a certain extent, you know, his friends in the media are rallying behind him, because, and this is, I'm going to play devil's advocate. This is one of the reasons I'm not going off on another tangent. One of the reasons I've prepared notes, because I know what I'm like. I have been defending Bruce for a while. That has changed in the last sort of 4 to 6 weeks. But you know, I know what I'm like. I do sort of argue with myself internally, and I think, you know, are we being too harsh on him? Because in fairness to him, even before he stepped through the door at St James's Park as a manager, he was written off. You know, he's not anyone following Rafa Benitez, bar probably, Jesus. You think of managers who could follow Rafa Benitez successfully in terms of PR at Newcastle after Rafa being sacked, with the job he did, the circumstance he dealt with, you can probably count on one hand. Pep Guardiola, maybe, just purely because of his pedigree as a manager. Jose Mourinho, because of the Bobby Robson connection, his pedigree as a manager, he's a winner. Kevin Keegan, nostalgia, and Alan Shearer. They're probably, just off the top of my head now, the 4 people I can think who could successfully follow Rafa Benitez with everybody behind him. Now, yeah, he's had shit from day one. The fans have been on his back. It's not his fault that he was brought in. Was he our first choice? No. The fact that we had to get down into the Championship says so much about our the lack of draw that the Newcastle managerial role offers. Says so much about how many people are unwilling to work with Mike Ashley, Lee Charnley, etc. But that's not Steve Bruce's fault. He's a boyhood Newcastle United fan, better say Man United fan. Boyhood Newcastle United fan. He is offered the job as a Newcastle United fan, as a man down in the Championship. He was offered a Premier League job with his hometown club. Now, cannot blame him for taking that. Cannot blame him for taking that. You know, I'm not a manager. I've got no badges, but I've never been a manager. You know, I haven't even played any sort of top flight, any sort of decent level of football. You know, I played a couple of years youth football at like a low standard as a bit of fun with my mates when I was at school. But if Mike Ashley and Lee Charnley got hold of me tomorrow and said, Mr. Roberts, we would like to give you a 2-year contract as manager of Newcastle United, you know, provided they gave me some sort of house or something up in Newcastle, I'd bite their hands off. Absolutely. So you can understand why his friends are supporting him in the media, because he has had a tough time of it at Newcastle. The fans have not been kind to him. However, he is making rods for his own back. He is not helping himself whatsoever. So, game against Chelsea, I think that was quite a prudent time to sort of have a little wash up of how things had gone, a little review. So, we are a submissive team. We do not go out on the pitch to compete. We go out on the pitch to contain, stay in the fight. Not even that's the wrong terminology, because staying in the fight, that sort of alludes to we are putting up some sort of resistance. We are providing some resistance. We are providing opposition when we're not. We're just making up the numbers. We're so submissive. We roll over. We do not try and win the ball. I know Chelsea are a better team than us, and even the best Newcastle. So let's go back to the 11-12 team who finished 5th. You know, this Chelsea team would probably have more possession than that team when we had the likes of Johan Cabaye pulling, baller in midfield, Hassan Ben Arfa, Czech Giotto breaking it up. So Chelsea would probably have more possession than that team. So we always knew they were going to have more position, but there's no resistance. There was no. I think the first half we had like 15% to 20% possession, which is pathetic at home, which I'll get onto. And there was no sort of urgency to win the ball or stop that happening. We were just happy for Chelsea to just play us off the park. I think we made 1 tackle in the first half, and I was watching England-Ireland in the Autumn Nations Cup rugby straight after, and I thought, okay, it's a completely different sport, but Ireland were coming on strong for about 20 minutes, and England put in tackle after tackle after tackle after tackle. And I know it's a different sport, and I know that if you in rugby, just because you tackle someone, you don't win the ball. But for Newcastle to be dominated so much and only to have 1 successful tackle, just man. No players are progressing. I cannot think of a single player who's got better since Steve Bruce has taken over. I just thought, to contradict that, Joe Linton perhaps, but he's always been a Steve Bruce player. He's better now than he was when he first turned up, but I don't think he's a better player than he was at Hoffenheim. We're only regressing, I'm going to touch on our defence in a minute, but certain players, Fabian Schär, what's happened to him? He looked like an absolute baller under Rafa. I thought, someone like Tottenham's going to snap him up straight away. The fact that he's still at the club says about how his level's dipped. I mean, Sean Longstaff, his growth is plateaued. Matty Longstaff was brought through by Steve Bruce, but he's plateaued, and the fact he signed a 2-year contract tells me that he's going to be going. Yeah, no one has really pushed up a level. ASM has at times, but he's now been exposed as, a player who is not. I'm going to come to that in a minute. Lack of team spirit. My next thing I've written down on my notes here. Oh yeah, keep your child safe, everyone. COVID. Fabian Schär, Miggy Almiron and ASM looked disillusioned on Saturday. Fabian Schär came on with a face like a smacked ass, probably because he wasn't selected to start in the first team, which I can understand, because obviously if you don't get picked, if one of my players doesn't get picked, I don't want him to be happy about it. I want him to be like, frustrated. But as soon as you cross that white line, you've got to put that behind you. You've got to get on with the job in hand. Was it the best game to bring in Kieran Clark to start? Probably not. I would have brought him on as a sub, and then we got you Palace on Friday. But there we go. Steve Bruce is manager, I'm not. Miggy wasn't smiling. Now, Miggy's agent hasn't done him any favours by saying that he might be off and Atletico Madrid, and if it wasn't for COVID, he'd probably be gone. Steve Bruce obviously said that's outrageous, understandable, and I'd like to think Bruce has got hold of Miggy in his office and said, look, I don't want any of this shit. Tell your agent to shut his fucking mouth, because it's not helping. It's not helping anyone. It's Steve Bruce is a man under pressure. As much as I'm going to slate him today, he's a man under pressure. It's not helping him at all. But yeah, when Miggy's not smiling, something's going wrong, because he's a very happy fella. So is there more behind the scenes? ASM. Since he signed his 6-year contract, ASM has done absolutely fuck all. He was sensational against Burnley. Absolutely sensational. Since then, Man U, nothing. Wolves, all right, I didn't watch the game, but I was listening to it on TalkSport. By the sounds of it, he was just running into people, running into brick walls left, right and centre, trying to do too much. isolated, not giving Callum Wilson the support, playing him in the 10. He said he wants to play in the 10 role in the game after, in the interview after the Burnley game. He says he wants to play in the 10 role, wants to score more goals. That's all very well, but the system we play in restricts any sort of attacking intent, so you can't play the 10 role. And because he's being told he's in the 10 role, but he's been brought back so deep, he's fucking Callum Wilson in the ass. I've no doubt ASM, that's not his intent. Well, obviously not to fuck him in the ass, but also it's not his intent to isolate a striker like that, but that is a shit system we're playing. No attacking impetus. I've touched on this, and it is shocking. No attacking impetus whatsoever. We do not set up to win games. I'm getting to the point now, we might as well forfeit the game, because unless we get a lucky goal or the opposition plays shit, we're not going to win. I cannot remember the last time we won a game and the opposition played well. And I know, obviously, you have to play better 9 times out of 10. Well, I say 9 times out of 10. We're a prime example, but you generally have to play better than the opposition to win. We are the exception to that rule. You look at Man U last season, Chelsea, Spurs. You know, we got away with so much last season, but you generally have to play better than the opposition to win. However, every game that we've won that I can think of off the top of my head in the last 6-12 months, the opposition's been shite. Right? I cannot remember the last time we both teams played well. You know, we come off winning the game, say 2-1, and you think, oh, you know, they run, you know, what a game. Both teams went for it. No. And just going off this season alone, right? So we've got the wins. West Ham away, 2-0. I think it's shown in recent games. West Ham, the Wolves and Leicester games spring to mind. They are a much better team than they were that day. They were crap, and we capitalised on it. What other wins have we got? So we have Burnley. Again, Burnley was shit. Burnley of last season, or Burnley of the season they got in Europe, would have completely destroyed us that day. We played pretty well. Burnley were crap, and we won. Wolves, okay, this wasn't a win, it was a draw, but again, they were crap. We got something out of it. Everton, up until, I think, was it Saints beat them before we played them? But, you know, they were the top of the league. Okay, and also they didn't have Luka Dean, they didn't have Richarlison, and they didn't have James Rodriguez. Three of their main, apart from DCL, their 3 main players. If those 3 were playing, we would have got ripped to shreds, more than likely. And as a result, Everton were rubbish. We managed to get a result. So, and then even going back into last season, you know, the first game after lockdown, so before lockdown, we beat Southampton. Southampton weren't all that. They had a player sent off. We had a penalty. Okay, it was saved, but the first game after lockdown, Sheffield United 3-0. That was the beginning of the end for Sheffield. They were flying high. We beat them. They were shit. We didn't. We were the better team, but they were crap. Bournemouth, they were rubbish against us. Sheffield away last season, we were rubbish. We got away with it. Man United last season, they were crap. We took a chance. We got away with it. Chelsea last season, they dominated the ball, dominated the game. We got a last-minute goal, got away with it. Spurs, they were the better team. We had 1 good goal from Joelinton, got away with it. There's a theme here. We only win if the opposition is crap or we get so lucky. So lucky. Talk about lack of attacking intent. Against West Ham, 2 shots on target. Brighton, 0 at home against Brighton. That stat, I'm sat here in a car park by the beach. That stat makes me want to drive the car in the fucking sea, to be honest. Tottenham, 1 shot on target. Penalty. Burnley, our stand-up performance, but like I said, more to do with how crap Burnley were than how good we were. 5 shots on target. Man U, 4 shots on target. Wolves, 2 shots on target. One of them was a penalty. The free kick. Everton, 4. Okay, again, Everton were crap. Southampton, 2. Surprising. It was that many. Chelsea, 1 shot on target at home. I know there's no fans in the ground, And you could say, oh yeah, you know, they got no fans to play for. That's bollocks. You're still playing at home, empty ground or not. This is meant to be our fortress. St James's Park should be our platform that we build on from. But no, I'm getting pissed. I'm getting wound up here now, so I'm just going to dial it back again. Defensive solidarity's gone. I can remember a time under Rafa, I think it was Rafa's last season, 18-19 season, when we were sport for choice for centre-backs. I can remember saying to my brother, we could probably do with selling one, because we had Florian Lejeune playing well, Jamal Lascelles playing well, Federico Fernandez broke through that season, Fabian Schär turned up that season. We still had Kieran Clark on the books. Paul Dummett, I know he's in the squad as a left back, but he's better at centre back, I think. You know, there's 6 players now. All 6 bar Florian Lejeune, all of them are at the club still. Jamal Lascelles, I'm sorry, pal. On his day, he's probably my favourite defender because he's old school defender, but he hasn't been at it for a good since Rafa left, really. He has good games, don't get me wrong, but overall he's not the same player. Fabian Schär, I think, has dropped off since Rafa went. You know, deploying him in midfield doesn't help him because he gets exposed. You know, like I said, he plays in midfield for, I think I said after the Man U game, he plays in midfield for Switzerland, where he plays against like the Faroe Islands and fucking Andorra and, you know, bloody the Peruvian C team or whatever. But he don't cut it in the Premier League. He's a classy baller, but it doesn't work. Lejeune went backwards last season. Jesus Christ. Fernandez, last season, I think he's our standout defender. But this season, so far, he's had a couple of good performances, but he's had a couple of stinkers in the last few games, which is worrying. You know, under Rafa, we had times where we played crap football and we had no possession, which I'll get onto in a minute. So I'm not saying this hasn't happened before under Rafa, because we could, obviously, like I said, at times under Rafa, the football was difficult to watch. But there was a plan behind it. There was a reason. Games that we were unlikely to win, i.e. someone like Chelsea, we would set up to frustrate and then see what we could get. But we're doing that against everyone now. You know, Rafa was a realist. As frustrating as it was, Rafa was a realist. But the thing we could always rely on was our defensive shape. You know, good structure, good shape. It's been drilled in. The boys do that. Blah, 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 blah. Gone. That's gone now. Chelsea ripped us to bits with such frequency on Saturday that it was worrying. It was more than worrying. The second goal, Timo Werner just glides through. I think it was Fernandez and Longstaff. They didn't even try and they didn't even acknowledge him. Right, you're 1-0 down. We were on the front foot for a good 5-6 minutes where I thought, oh, this is good now. Stringing some passes together. I will say, some of Sean Longstaff's little passes into Gillington, superb. Little dinks, little feeds. You know, we were looking like we were, you know, the tide might be turning. If we get a goal now, the boys are up, momentum, blah, blah. But no, I think we were attacking. It might have been our corner. Now we're just going to let Timo Werner go. We're just going to let him go. We're not even going to try and take him down. We're not even going to... Tactical foul, boys? Professional foul? Take one for the team? You know, you don't have to hurt the guy. Just pull his shirt or something. No. In Bruce's defence, the one thing he's got right, I think, is his recruitment. Best set of signings for years. But he refuses to make the most of them. All right, Jamal Lewis has played every single game. I think he's struggling a bit, but we don't have better. And he will get better. Is Bruce the right coach for him? Coaching-wise, I don't want to say no because I'm not there watching, but the evidence so far of all our players going backwards, I would say no. But time will tell. Jesus Christ. Jeff Hendrick, it's nice to see him not play. And I don't mean that as a personal thing against Jeff, but to me, he's just in Sean Longstaff's way, or Isaac Hayden's way, or Matty Longstaff's way. You know, it's good that we got rid of Bentaleb, but Jeff Hendrick so far has been given a free pass to start every single game. No, I thought Jeff Hendrick was signed as a squad player, as someone for a bit of depth, maybe a bit of experience, you know, bringing some of the younger guys on. I didn't realise he was bought as like a fucking game changer, you know, our first name on the team sheet. You know, we signed some quality attacking players. Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson. You know, they've got that Bournemouth connection. They played with each other for years. Anyone who knows anything about football, even those who don't, and get some kid on FIFA, right, as you say to him, look, set up this team with any formation you want. I bet even kids who know nothing about football would set up a 4-2-3-1 with ASM, Mickey, Fraser, Wilson as the front four. It's not a fucking secret. It's not like the bloody, you know, what's in the eye of the fucking storm. It is what it is. It's so simple to see. You know, we bought two attacking players from the same club. Would it not make sense to put them together? I know Fraser struggled with injury, but Jesus, he's been on the bench too much. Yeah, it's not even been tried. He hasn't been started alongside Wilson. Because that 4-2-3-1 is a formation that offers anything but like total submission. That's a competitive formation, so that we can't play that. Jesus, you know, playing in the Premiership, Premier League, Crystal Palace, what a team. West Ham, what a team. Brighton coming to our place. Fuck me, we're going to get dicked. Do me a favour. Same old shit in the media. Brucey, man, you're a nice bloke, like I've alluded to. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you ain't going anywhere, let's be honest. But, you know, no hard feelings towards you as a bloke. But you just come out with the same old crap in the media. Why not? One day after a shit performance, come out, and I'm not saying self out or apologise to the fans, but if players aren't putting the fucking work in, have a dig at them. Show some bite, man. But no, it's just, oh yeah, there's positives to take. They're a better team and blah blah blah. Fucking hell, it's just boring. Right, some stats, some numbers now. Numbers game. From a defensive standpoint, and there is a positive to take out of this. One positive, I'll tell you in a minute. So, shots faced so far this season, 129. We are like first for that, but that's not a good thing. We are the team that's faced the most shots. We're also the team that's faced the most on-target shots, 50. Further proof that our defenders are going backwards. There's not enough blocks going in. We're letting people go too easily. Saves. Carl Darlow, 37 saves. Fair play. You know, it's worrying that he's had to make that many saves. But, yeah. And a 76% save percentage. We're top of the tree for all those stats. So the only thing I'll say in a positive light is Carl Darlow, hats off to you, man. You are playing out of your fucking skin. 2 or 3 games in, I thought to myself, yeah, Dubras will come straight back into this team. No, he can't. He can't come straight back into his team. And it's not because of sentiment of Carl Darlow. It's just factual. He's playing too well. It's bare facts. He's playing too well. You cannot drop the guy. So much that if Dubravka comes straight into the starting lineup, they'll be fucking hell up, because Darlow is playing superbly. Our current team has the lowest possession stats of any Premier League team since August 2003. Now that is 17 years. 17 years. That's the majority of my life. 17 years. Lowest possession stats across the board, 33.6%. Now, if we played back-to-back, like City, first gets 9 games, say City, Arsenal, Everton, Man U, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, you could be like, oh, yeah, it's not great reading, but I get that. But no, we've played West Ham, Brighton, Tottenham, Burnley, a wounded Man United, Wolverhampton, Everton, Southampton and Chelsea. The only team that should be dominating us, possession stats there, I would say, are probably, realistically, Chelsea, Tottenham, Wolves. considering we played Man U at home and Man U are a wounded team. They're the only team that should be dominating us. However, our possession stats, so I'm just going to go off home games, right? Because I know, again, there's no fans in the ground, but we should not be surrendering possession at home in the manner that we are now. I know we're not Barcelona, we're not tiki-taka football, you know, pass and move and all that sort of stuff, but you got to try and keep the ball a bit more than we are at home. So it starts well. It starts off like, and it just gets progressively worse. Against Brighton, when we were humiliated 3-0, 47% possession. Okay, that's near half, but you know, Brighton, we at home, come on, they're one of the teams that we earmarked to beat. You know, we got to beat these teams. And now it's a case of the likes of Brighton, Villa. I need a haircut. Brighton, Villa, Leeds, West Brom. Probably West Brom and Fulham will probably be looking at us thinking, yeah, get a win against them. That's how bad it is. Burnley, again, 47%. Considering we beat Burnley 3-1, that should be higher. Because Burnley were terrible, but we backed off at times and the goal was coming. Right, against Man U, 36%. What? 36% against a wounded Man U who we ended up getting beat 4-1 by. How that happened, I don't know. It was just go 1-0 up and then fucking sit back. Come on, boys. It's all right. Newcastle are here now. Ollie, don't worry about it, mate. We'll just revert to training game mode. Give you every chance, every opportunity to get back in the good books of the supporters. Everton, 37%. Right, so Richarlison is like their main sort of striker forward. I know DCL's a goal scorer, but Richarlison's like their mercurial man. James Rodriguez was like their number 10 sort of Don midfield pass master. So without those two, you think we can dominate these? No. We won the game by the skin of our teeth, but we're still going to get dominated possession-wise. And against Chelsea, 29%. So it's 37% against Everton. I can't remember if I said that. Chelsea, 29%. 29%. So they had 71% away from home. No team should go in the Premier League should go away from home and have 71% possession. But it's not like they had to work for it. That's the most frustrating thing. They did not even have to work for that 71% possession. But if you're in the media and you know Steve Bruce, and if you're on TalkSport, you're probably going to go, yeah, but after 9 games, they got 11 points after 9 games. I think I don't know if it still is, but at one point it was our best start to the Premier League for years. Which, yeah, and this is where I'm gonna try and debunk the myth that we are deluded crybabies now. I'm just pulling away. It has been a good start on the board. Points on the board in a results-based game. If we're looking at it from a scientific, numerical, mathematical standpoint, it's been a decent start. You know, we've got more points than we've played games. For a team like us, where mid-table mediocrity is the best we can hope for, that's good. That's good. But it's the manner of performance. It's the games those points have come in. It's go on. It's the games that those points have come in. You know, the wins we've achieved. Like I've said, against Everton, we were okay, but Everton were crap. You know, if any sort of Everton lost my train of thought there, or it had maintained any sort of form, they would have turned us over back to front. You know, the Tottenham game got a crucial point there, but we were completely annihilated, and we got a point through probably one of the worst penalty decisions I've ever seen, and a lot of people will agree with me there. You know, West Ham were crap on the opening day. Basically, I've got to reel through the list again, but it's depressing me. So, any game this season where we've achieved any sort of success, the opposition's been crap. If the opposition turned up and played to any sort of potential, we would be sitting rock bottom. And we are in serious danger. You know, do not look at that league table and think, oh, we're 15th. Yeah, we've got that cushion of West Brom, Fulham being crap, of Sheffield being crap, of Burnley being crap. Do not look at those teams and think, yeah, it's alright, as long as we finish above them. Yeah, that's true, but will we? We are abysmal. We're absolutely abysmal at the minute. We're the worst team in the Premier League to watch by a fucking mile. We're boring, we're unambitious, we're submissive, we roll over and show our bellies. And where can you blame? Where do we apply the blame? Up until probably yesterday, I wasn't Bruce out. And I'm not going to be one of these fans on Twitter, many still don't have Twitter, but like online calling for his head, because, you know, it's a man's job, it's a man's employment after all. But do I want him as our manager? No. The only thing that kept me being 100% Steve Bruce out, which I am now, was the players have got to take some accountability here. You know, Bruce can set the team up. He can prepare the team. He can do all the meetings and the tactics and the training and blah, blah, blah. But once those players cross that white line, it's up to them. And I've been a big believer of this. You know, going back to when Jose was being hung out to dry by his players at Chelsea for the second time. Looking at Mourinho again, Man U. You know, the players weren't doing it, he was getting the blame. What the players do on the pitch, the manager can have no influence, or next to no influence really. However, and I was thinking, well no, if he's told them to go up, you know, to set up negatively and just surrender everything, just wave your white flag for 90 minutes, and surely the senior players can get together in the middle of that pitch and think, fuck this, you know, we've got black and white stripes on our fucking shirts here, we're playing for Newcastle United, we're in this wonderful stadium, all the fans want us to win, fuck this tactics, let's have a game, let's take it to them, let's have a go. I'm being naive there, that's not how it works. But Bruce is sucking the life out of these players. Mark my words, if Steve Bruce is still in charge come end of the season, Alan Saint-Maximin will be gone. Absolutely 200%. He'll be gone out of there. You will not see him for fucking dust. He'll go to a decent team in Europe, probably a Europa League side with a bit of ambition, who want to progress, who want to grow. Miguel Almiron will probably leave. Ryan Fraser might be on his bike. All right, he's got form for having, you know, loyalty issues, leaving Bournemouth. But is he going to want to stick around in this shit show? This you can guarantee this isn't what Ryan Fraser and Callum Wilson signed up for. I hope it wasn't. Because if it was, they've got as little ambition as our fucking owners. But the reality is, Steve Bruce isn't going to go anywhere. Mike Ashley's got form for leaving it too late to fire managers who are taking us down. The example that stands out is, of course, Steve McLaren. Blessing in disguise, because we almost needed to go down just to reset, but we didn't fully reset, because the framework is still in place, the ownership is still in place, that regime is still in place. Rafa Benitez was a plaster over that wound, a fucking wonderful plaster, a game playing plaster who manipulated the fans, you could argue, but he papered over the cracks. The problems are still in place. Fuck me, I am worried. But the thing is, right, we'll probably come back and beat Palace. They might be shit. We might deserve to win. We might grab a goal, you know, a fucking own goal or a penalty or a free kick or something, and then that's another 3 points. Next thing you're looking at 10 games played, 18 points. 10 games played, 14 points. Sorry, and you think, oh yeah, it's not too bad. You know, so it's going to take us to sink into the bottom three and be there probably throughout Christmas for Mike Ashley to wake up and do something. But is he going to do anything? Because obviously he's now up to his fucking knees in legal battles with the Premier League. So who knows? But then you'd like to think he's, you know, he should be protecting his asset, because if he wants to sell the club, he's going to get a lot more money if the club's still in the Premier League. Blah blah blah. With players such as ASM. I mean, I single out ASM because he's a stand-up player. He's one of the most exciting. He's probably the most exciting attacking player we've had since Hatton Bonhoeffer. And if we want to go anywhere, if we want to progress, if we want to get up into that top half of the table, we want to progress into Europa League in 2-3 years' time. We want to get back to those days where we were under Sir Bobby Robson, where it was fantastic. You know, the guys who live up in Newcastle, I envy you guys, because I'm obviously down in Cornwall, but turning the telly on, watching that team, and watching Bobby Robson's post-match interview, where that passion for Newcastle, passion for what his work, he loved what he did, but he had such drive to do it, came pouring out of him. But now it's just like, fuck me, have I got to sit through this? Right, nearly 41 minutes I've been talking now. I'm going to knock it on the head. Please leave any comments. This is the longest video I've done by a country mile. Obviously it'd be better in a room with light. I'm doing it in the car, but any comments, any advice, any feedback, any constructive criticism, please stick them in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe if you can. You know, I just do this all off an iPhone. I'm not a tech guru. I don't really have a clue what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to give you a point of view from someone the other end of the country who loves this club. And yeah, we shall see what happens on Friday night. So yeah, please like, subscribe, share it, whatever. Thank you. See you later.